guys speakers also?
Yes, but we're on live now, and he'll cut out all the stuff that we're saying right this second. So,
Hi, Elliot.
yeah, there you go. Hey, Elliot.
Hope you're doing good.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Talk with Zelda. And today I have a really cool show for you. So, waterfront living, it's all about waterfront living. If you are living on the waterfront property or thinking about it, that's what we call luxury living. So some waterfront, it doesn't have to be the ocean. It could be a lake. It could be a canal or a river, all those bodies of water. And I'll tell you what, when you live on the water, it's like living 24/7, 365 days of vacation. So we're going to, you're going to pay a little bit of a price for living on the water, and you're going to have higher property taxes, and you're going to have higher insurance policies and all that. But it's so worth it for the people who live on the water because it is, like I said, it is a vacation. So today we're going to focus on the activities that you can do on the water when you live on the water. I have today Andy Fraden. He's the owner of All Wet Sports. He's in the house, and he has a retail store on Beach Boulevard, and it's so loaded with cool things like I've seen kayaks and paddle boards, and those paddle boards, they're inflated. In fact, he helped design some of them, he's telling me. He's got life jackets for not just us humans, but he's got them for the pets. He's got swimsuits, he's got wetsuits, he's got everything here. It's so cool. I just love this store. Makes me want to go out and get a boat. So anyway, he also is a flipper. He flips homes, and I've seen some of the homes that he's flipped, and he pays such close attention to detail. But we're going to talk to him another week about his investment properties and how he goes about selecting them and flipping them. But today I wanted to talk to him about all these cool sports activities for those of you who are living on a water or have access to the water. So welcome to the house, Andy.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here too. So tell me, first of all, how long have you had All Wet Sports?
Oh my, since '02, I believe.
'02.
Yes.
So what made you get into this work?
Do what you love. Love water. Loved it since I was a child, and now I get to have sort of like the vacation job, so to speak.
That's true. And I understand that when you were a child, you actually built a boat.
I built several boats as a child. Couldn't get my parents to ever buy a boat, so I had to build it to get on the water.
So you built the boats and then you got on the water. So how many different places have you been in Jacksonville? I know that this location is a relatively newer one. You were other places before Beach
For All Wet
Boulevard?
Sports,
Yes.
I was on South Side for 2 or 3 years, and then as soon as this came available in '05, I moved here. So I've been here for almost 15 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's a cool store. It's huge and it's got so much stuff in it. So what's your top selling item?
These days, it would definitely be the paddleboards, stand-up paddleboards.
What did it start out being?
Oh, kayaks.
Kayaks.
Kayaks and wakeboards and windsurfing.
Do people still wakeboard?
Oh, big time, yes.
Okay,
Definitely,
I
yeah.
didn't realize that.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so so the top one is paddleboards, you said?
Definitely, yes.
Paddleboards. Okay. Tell us a little bit about the paddleboards that you have, and how do you get into it if you don't know anything about paddleboarding?
Well, number one, come to All Wet Sports, and
Okay.
we will talk to you and tell you, after listening to you, what you want to use it for, what's the best for you.
What do you mean? What do you use it for?
Well, there's ones that are for surfing. There's ones for just touring around. There's race boards. They even do them in whitewater rafting, but we don't.
On
go
a
in-
paddleboard?
Yeah.
I can't imagine. That's how you kill yourself.
Yeah, they look funny when they're doing it. They're wearing helmets and elbow pads and knee pads. I mean, but it's a very niche-y part of the sport. We deal mostly in the touring end of the paddleboards.
Now, what does that mean, the touring end?
For 99% of the paddleboarders, it's that market. They're doing it for everything except for surfing, basically.
So when you say that, where are they putting these paddleboards? They're not putting them in a pool.
You could. It could be a little dangerous in the pool because you got those cement edges that you could fall on. But small lakes to rivers, oceans, anywhere there's basically a foot of water depth, you can paddleboard.
Okay. So if somebody wanted to, they're not sure they want a paddleboard. Because I'm sitting in your store right now with you doing this live podcast, and these are pretty cool pieces of equipment. So I come in and I say, "Oh, I love this, but I don't know how to do it." What do you tell them?
Come back for a lesson.
Oh, so you offer lessons?
We definitely, yes.
Tell me about that.
It's a quick lesson. It's a 1-hour lesson. It's $40. We start in the shop. We go over safety, number one. We also have a simulator so you get the feel of it. So by the time you get on the water, it won't be that as scary. And we have a very good success rate with our lessons.
Now, are these individual lessons? Are these group lessons? What is it?
Somewhere in between. It's basically 1 to about 7 people.
Okay.
Per lesson.
Now, I have actually seen pets on these things.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
We even do a paddle for the paws where we take your dog out there, but any size. A lady took her cat out there once too. Not very successfully, I don't think.
That cat must have been freaking.
It was a cat on a leash, so it was used to some doggish things. But yeah, dogs love paddleboarding all the time.
So tell me about this paddle for the paws.
We usually do that about once a year, and it's where we go out either just a 1-mile paddle with your paws or a paddle for the paws. And the paddle for the paws, we go all the way to the Exchange Island underneath the Matthews Bridge and back, which is an 11-mile paddle. It's a pretty long paddle.
That's a long way.
And this year, a guy did it with 2 fairly big dogs on his board, and he made it there and back. I was telling him, "You'll never make it," and he did
and
it
he
very
did.
easily.
And what is the cause for?
It goes to the Humane Society. Yeah.
The Humane Society.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because we have listeners from all over. We have them in Canada, in Germany, and everywhere. So people don't necessarily know what, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm telling people Beach Boulevard, and they're going, Beach Boulevard where?
In Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. In Jacksonville,
8550.
So you have lots of other types of equipment here. What other things do people rent from you?
For renting, it's paddleboards and kayaks, mostly kayaks, for
Okay,
sure. We're right on the creek. It's a nice, quiet little creek with egrets and herons and turtles and what else? Manatees a little bit, and even fewer gators. There's always a possibility, but very, very seldom.
Now, I've actually seen that you have one kayak that is a glass bottom kayak. You don't have that one any longer? I saw it here once.
Yeah, a long time ago, we'd bring them in, but not very often. We don't have clear water around this area, so it's sort of not a good reason to
But
bring
for
them.
somebody who is in a clear area, that would be an interesting thing to have.
Oh, definitely, yes.
So, because you never know where somebody's going to take these things. It's not necessarily that they're going in our river. They could be going anywhere.
Keystone on Kingsway Lake would be the closest place for here. That'd be good. And I think like maybe Cocoa Beach and further south, and any of the clear water springs, the clear kayaks are fun.
So kayaks are still popular.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, with paddle boards, I was impressed. When you stand, your vision of inside the water is so much better. So much better. You can on clear water, you can actually see the bottom, whereas in a kayak, you're too close to the water, and all you see is the refraction from the sun.
So are any of these the kayaks or the paddle boards or whatever else you have here? What are those big boards?
Those are big paddle boards. She's looking at some big paddle boards right now.
Those are monsters. So are there any of these that are I'm going to call them water toys? Are they better for the river or a lake or an ocean? Or any of them better for one or the other? So if somebody's living on the ocean, they might pick one item. If they're living on the river, they might pick something else.
On the paddle boards, the epoxy boards, the hard boards I usually point those for sure if they're planning on doing a little bit of surfing with them.
You mean in the ocean? In
the ocean, yes, obviously. And the inflatables are basically good for everything else, especially for travel, because you roll them up and you throw them.
The inflatable paddle boards.
Inflatable paddle boards, yes. Nobody knows you even have it in your vehicle because it's all tucked away versus a giant paddleboard on your roof.
So that would be good for your lakes and your rivers.
Everything, honestly.
And anything. So how do those things inflate? Because when I first looked at them, they didn't look like they were anything inflatable. They just looked like paddle boards.
Right.
But then you told me that those are inflated. So how do you inflate them?
One breath at
You wouldn't want to.
No, they come with a pump. They come with a pump.
So they come with the pump.
A hand pump, yes.
Okay, it's a hand pump.
Takes about 4.5 minutes to pump it up, about 45 seconds to deflate it, roll it up, ready to go back.
Not bad. Can you use an electric
They sell electric pumps that you just dial in and walk away. When you come back, it cuts off automatically at the right pressure, and they're pretty neat,
Wow.
too.
Okay, because it's kind of like a tire inflating.
Very similar, yes.
Where do you import these, or where do they come from? I know you said you designed some of them.
Yeah, the inflatables, I designed 3 or 4 of those. The epoxies, I didn't design those. We just bring those in, but they're still very nice boards, even though I
Gotcha.
didn't design them.
Now, how do you compete with the big boxes?
We're got just a much bigger selection. Our prices are actually better, even better than Amazon. I'll even throw that word out there. Because we're a direct importer, we have the best prices in the country.
There you go. You don't have to go to Amazon for everything. You can come to All Wet Sports.
Basically, yeah. We sell to Amazon.
There you go. Oh, that's awesome. So let me ask you, you mentioned to me earlier about dragon boat racing. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that might affect someone who's living on the water?
Whew. Basically, not really the effect of anybody that lives on the water, but anybody that wants to be on the water that doesn't have a boat or a vessel. It's a club. It's the Jax Fire Dragons. I'm the sponsor. We host them right here at All Wet Sports. They go out every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday morning. Tuesday, Thursday night, Saturday morning, and they practice. They get in shape.
What's the boat look like? What kind of boat?
Looks
is
like
it?
a giant canoe.
Okay.
That 10 to 20 people sit on a slat of wood, and they paddle their little hearts out. I remember the first time I went out with them, I thought, oh my gosh, this is gonna be so easy. Bunch of women in this boat. They tore me up in about 3 minutes of the 1 hour.
You couldn't keep up with them, could you?
No, it
That's
was
funny.
embarrassing. So I got a little more serious after that. And now I'm actually, they voted me president of the club now.
So you can paddle now.
Yeah, and we're having a race this weekend in October.
Now, I understand they have races all over the world, is it?
Yeah, we do mostly races in Florida, but they go all over the country and all over the world doing races.
So if that's something that someone wants to get into with traveling and doing something productive like that, that's a cool thing
It's
to
a
do.
good way to fun way to get in shape instead of a gym, and the gear is simply you buy a paddle and you buy a life vest. It's about the least expensive sport I've ever been in because of that.
That is awesome. So if someone wants to test out, they're not sure they want to be in the dragon boat races and boating because it's strenuous eventually.
They offer what they call newbie practice. Usually on every Saturday or every other Saturday, you can come out Saturday mornings and try it out. You can do it 3 times before you have to join the club. So usually after 2 or 3 times, you can figure out whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always re-enlisting for, looking for new people.
How many people are in your club?
I have no idea. I should know. I would say about 20, 25, somewhere in there.
Okay.
But we're capable of handling up to like 40 or 60 easily
Okay.
with the equipment we have on hand.
So they come together here on the Saturdays, and then y'all go out and rehearse, practice.
Practice.
Practice. You rehearse.
Practice
You're
paddling.
practicing paddling. Okay.
Yes.
And it's all about timing, I would think, that sport.
There's a big percentage of timing involved in it, yes. That
Okay.
was the hardest part for me to learn the first day. After that, the timing part actually clicks pretty well, and then it's technique after that, working on your technique.
So if someone has bought a home, they're on the water, let's say they're on, it doesn't really matter if they're on the river, the ocean, a lake, and they don't have a boat. What's the first, besides a life jacket, what's the first thing you might want to tell them they might want to try for fun? What?
Without a boat
Without a boat.
and just inexpensive, simply the kayaks and the paddleboards will get you out on the water. And a lot of people do that just for the peace of mind. I mean, you don't have any upkeep with it, with a kayak or paddle versus a boat. And you're not, it's one with nature, all that kind of stuff. So it's nice and quiet. You can sneak up on all the little different critters out there, whether you like it or not.
Or
And
whether
it's a lot
they
of fun.
like it or not.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's a lot
And
of
now
fun.
let's suppose the person, they've been in their home for a while, they're on the water, and they have the boat. Now what should they be getting?
It's time for toys for that boat.
All right, let's talk about the
Especially if they
toys.
have kids.
Okay, what do you recommend?
Well, depending on the age of the kids that you're taking out there with you, tubes are fun. Anybody can ride a tube. You just sit in it. And depending on the driver, how fast or how slow
So
they
you're
go.
going behind the boat like a ski.
Yeah, but just being pulled. You don't have any skills needed whatsoever getting pulled in.
So the faster that boat driver's going, the rougher it's going to be.
The crazier it's going to be for the rider. That's why, as they're very young, you just troll with them. As they get older, they're a little more daredevil, and you go a little bit faster, and you start doing what you're not supposed to be doing, like whipping them around and stuff.
Okay. You didn't hear that here.
Right. After that,
it's like drink responsibly, boat responsibly, right?
Correct.
And don't drink and ride on a boat.
No, you will get pulled over.
There you go. Any other advice or any questions I haven't asked you that you're thinking I should ask about?
Well, for the boat, moving up, the way I usually transition is knee boards usually.
Knee boards.
Or skis. Any of those are very easy to learn on. Mm-hmm. And then from there, wakeboards and wake surfers and wake skates and all that kind of fun stuff. They're all fun toys to learn on the water. You know, you fall, you get wet. It's not like getting drugged behind a motorcycle or whatever. You know?
Yeah. You're just going to fall in the water.
Yeah, you fall in the water.
You want to know how to swim. You want to have your life vests on at all times.
100%.
And you want the people in the boat not to be drinking. And that's pretty much what it is.
And then, of course, there's always fishing involved with motorboating.
True. Now, do you carry that? Fishing gear of any kind?
Just a little bit. We do a little bit for fishing kayaks and a little bit for fishing paddle boards even.
What's fishing kayaks?
Kayaks that are made for fishing. They got rod holders built into them. Same thing with the paddle boards. They actually have rod holders built onto them. It's very minimalistic fishing, but it's very easy and quiet. You can get to your little secret spots along the creeks and rivers very easily with them.
I will say, back in the day when my family had a boat, I found boating probably one of the most relaxing sports, if you want to call that a sport even. It wasn't a sport. It was just cruising down the river and finding, like you said, those little creeks and the little hidden gems and looking at the turtles and nature and just quiet, and it just kind of quieted my brain. And I think that's what living on the waterfront is for many people who buy on the water. It's looking at those ocean waves. It's calming to them, or a river or a sunset.
Yeah, it's always a lot nicer view of the water and the sun coming up and down versus a fence.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Andy, I want to thank you so much for all these great ideas. And what is the website? So if somebody wants to find you, has a question about any of this, how do they find you?
Sure, yeah, it's simple. It's allwetsports.net.
.net, okay.
Allwetsports.net.
Allwetsports.net, and the name of the store again is?
All Wet Sports.
And it's in Jacksonville, Florida, on Beach Boulevard, but I also think that you can order online?
Not really.
No?
You can call us.
You don't do that anymore, shipping and all that?
No.
Okay,
no.
So
more
I'm
personal.
Okay, more personal service. So if you want to buy or sell a waterfront property, I want you to remember to call Zelda. That's me, your real estate expert. And you'll find me at gozelda.com, like GoDaddy, but I'm GoZelda. So that's the show for this week. Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode of Real Estate Talk with Zelda.